Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SEM Laparoscopy Master Class 10. Today we are going to discuss the top 10 troubleshooting tips for a laparoscopic surgeon. Friends, as a laparoscopic surgeon, as a budding surgeon, we might enter into a laparoscopic theatre with the various problems during the procedure. So, how to prevent them happening, and also what are the troubleshooting? Let's take it, because once you enter the OT, then there are 7 important things as a surgeon we are able to do. One, of course, we are going to see the patient, say hello to the patient, and get all the history and examination and also the investigation reports reviewed by you, what I call a pre-anesthetic hello. Then you instruct your staff nurse to get all the right tools. If it is a lab collie, what are the equipments you need on the table, and also what are the things on the trolley and devices. That is, and usually they refer the staff nurse what we call a cockpit manual. There is a manual on which, based upon which, then you scrub and come and do what we call, depending upon the procedure, a port placement, then achieve a safe peritoneal access, then go step by step the procedure you plan. If there are some problems during the procedure, of course, you need to have a plan B or plan C. If it is a difficult chole, what are the things? Instead of complete cholecystectomy, you may have to go for a subtotal cholecystectomy, cholecystostomy, like that. You need to have all the options ready. Then patient recovered, going to the post-operatively, which ward they will be going to, what is going to be the pain relief and monitoring. Then, of course, at the end of the procedure, when you go back home, you always try to recollect how you have done today and learn to do better of next time. So, every procedure gives you a lot of lessons for the rest of your life to learn. So, this is what, in my opinion, is the way the surgeon has to do in each every surgery, not necessarily a laparoscopic surgery. And let me just take you an important 10 tips that will be useful if whenever you have any trouble during procedure. One, we need to understand, I am sure I told you already, the importance of vision for the success of laparoscopy, because there are at least 7 things here that gives you a good vision here. Say, for example, whenever you do not see a good image on the monitor, there are at least 7 important areas where you need to concentrate. Like this picture I have told you, is it the light source? You see the halogen or a xenon bulb hours might have gone, or the bulb might have fused. So, light source you have to see, or the cable connection or the condition of the cable matters. Then from there it comes to the telescope, whether there is a fogging of the scope or any damage in the scope you need to see, because the light has to travel through the scope, then come back as an image to the camera head, where there is a coupling of the telescope to the camera head, there is any smudge or some dirt in it, that has to be cleaned, the camera head. Then if there is no image, is it a processing problem like a control unit, whether it is switched on in the proper way, or the connecting cable, whether the cable is very loose in the back of the monitor, then you go back and see, or the monitor itself, whether the setting is right. So, like that, each and every step you go from the source to the final destination. That is the way we do, because simple thing like a fogging of scopes, I am sure you can clean it with some very hot water or a betadine, or there are special anti-fog solutions are available, and avoid taking the cold CO2 through the same optical trocar. You try to attach it to somewhere else, the CO2. And if the lighting is inadequate, then you may have to think about changing the bulb or even the cable, and clean the lens and the eyepiece, the connection I told you already, all these things. And also, before any procedure, you need to do what I call a white balancing to get the natural color. So, these are the fundamental truths. Coming to the next tip, in open surgery we know how much important the retraction, you do painfully all the retraction we do, but as far as the laparoscopy concerned, then it is only the gravity and the view you are getting with the laparoscopy, whether it is a 30 degree or 0 degree, and your assistant, of course, they are going to make a lot of difference how you get. For example, depending upon if it is a pelvic surgery, just put them in a Trendelenburg position. If it is upper abdominal or bariatric surgery, steep head up position, or renal surgery or spleen lateral position. So, there it makes a part, and also as you can see in this image, altering the patient position by head up and more towards you, you are standing on the patient's left side, then it will all the momentum and everything fall back, and a 30-degree scope will give you a better exposure of the callus triangle, and assistant can zoom in and out and show you exactly where you are dissecting. And if necessary, we can always put additional port, like for example, if you want to just depress the omentum or a duodenum. And if it is a distended stomach, we can ask the anesthetist to put a nasogastric tube. So, all these things are going to improve the exposure, not any retraction. So, that is all the secrets I wanted to share with you. And the third important thing is, apart from the port placement, it is very important thing is where you keep your trolley, the tool table, energy devices, where all you are going to stand, they all matter. So, always you have a cockpit manual where a diagram is drawn and exactly tell for a lap appendix, this is the way we do. For lap chole, this is where I will be standing, this is where I wanted my all the tables and trolleys should be there. You should clearly see, for example, in a lap Nissan's, we know where the ports are have to be placed, but where all you are going to show, whether it is going to be French position, which we normally prefer, I stand between the patient leg, and where the anesthetist is going to stand, where all the monitors, where your assistants, and how the position is going to be. All these things could be clearly seen, and stick to all the ergonomic principles of the low waistline table, gaze down view, and also straight line principle, all those things. Like for example, here I am showing you the appendix where I am standing, my assistant in one position, like a typical position for appendix. So, all this should be depicted, or the staff should know exactly. For example, same appendix in a child, there may be the port may be slightly higher in the right upper quadrant for a retraction, because if you are keeping it too low, it will be causing a problem of retracting the appendix. And even in ladies during pregnancy, first trimester how you put the port, third trimester where the ports are going to be different. So, all these things you need to learn, because ergonomics, if you get it right, then it makes the surgery very easy and it will be very efficient and comfortable for you, because you need to always start working smart. The next important tip is regarding the peritoneal access. We all know the optical trocar are the first port, initially by the virus, followed by the port in, both are blind steps unfortunately. So, we need to follow all the 7 important steps for a safe access, starting from well anesthetized relaxed patient, and always nasogastric tube, empty the bladder, well prepared bowel. You need to be experienced with excellent sharp tools, because sharp trocars makes all the differences. Okay. All the steps are very, very important, and if you, after putting this peritoneal access and connecting the CO2 for a pneumoperitoneum, you are not able to maintain, somewhere the gas is leaking, then go for the tip number 5, what I call a tank to tummy test. What do you mean by, the CO2 cylinder, from there the CO2 is coming to the insufflator, and from there through the tube it coming to the side port of the trocar and going in, and a patient here. So, problem may be empty cylinder, insufflator low pressure, leaking CO2 tube, or leak on the side port, or a tight abdominal muscle mass. All these things could be the reason. So, you need to rectify one by one. And the next important thing is the importance of hemostasis, because unlike in open surgery, laparoscopy depends upon one vision, second absolute hemostasis, and for that you need to make sure that you never go for a panic. For example, here is a classical case of a bleeding happening at the callus triangle during a lap chole. Whenever there is a bleeding, always do not go pack and then pressure and wait, or grasp with the Maryland like this and wait. If you keep on prodding that area, then there will be bleeding will be more and more, it becomes uncontrollable. Avoid blind clipping, blind diathermy. Okay. It should not be panic clipping. So, you need to do that. Always I say, any hemostasis during laparoscopy is a 2-stage procedure. Temporarily you get the control, after 5 minutes you think about what permanently you can do, either energy sources, or you rather go for a clip, or even go for a conversion, because excessive bleeding is one of the reason for conversion, because there are at least two reasons why we convert. One, what we call a reactive conversion, that is a preemptive conversion. See, for example, whenever there is a unclear anatomy or even after 1 hour, then best thing is to go for a conversion, because that by then you have avoided any unnecessary complication. Whereas, if you go for what I call a reactive conversion, where there is already bleeding or a bowel injury or bile duct injury happened, then you have to convert. Then you are not only converting, then you need to address the complication also. You have two problems to tackle. So, that is why I always say be wiser by going for a preemptive conversion. And this an example of the various equipments kept ready for the procedure, provided you have the right tool for the right purpose used, then it will always give the right time. And regarding the hand instruments, you should always realize that the working end is the most important thing. So, always try to get as many tools as possible, what I call a horses for the courses. If it is easy, then Maryland enough. If it is a difficult callus triangle or a cystic dissection, a right angle dissector may be necessary. If it is acute gallbladder, a suction cannula may be a good dissector to delineate the cystic duct, or harmonic scalpel come for rescue in some conditions. So, depending upon the situation, the right tool you need to use. See, for example, whenever I have a acute gallbladder, minimum these are the additional 5 tools, which normally we do not use it during the elective cholecystectomy. Like I would require an aspiration needle to decompress the gallbladder, I may require a fan retractor for suppressing or depressing the momentum, or a swollen phlegmon, and a gauze dissection may be required, or a pack for a troublesome bleeding. Suction cannula is the best dissector in my opinion. Harmonic scalpel, very often it is unique, and the best important thing is you always decompress and the suction cannula dissection. These are the two classical technical things I wanted to give you. With the proper training, with your team assisting and knowing exactly what you are doing, and you can easily do acute cholecystectomy in all the patients with same acceptable morbidity. Coming to the next important thing is a backup of instruments and open instruments. Always you have, like for example, when there is a halogen bulb, always have a bare CO2, only one mark is there, the cylinder is standby next door, because the last thing you want to do is the cylinder empty, you can't proceed with the procedure, you have to abandon. That is not acceptable by any patients nowadays. So, always when there is a problem complication, the open instruments should be within the theatre complex, so you should not run after the equipments also. And coming to the next couple of tips, energy devices, if they are used properly, then it can make sure that you have a safe surgery. Because there is one of the important thing I wanted to tell you is inspecting your energy sources, especially the insulation of all the equipments. Otherwise, you get into this problem of insulation failure whenever you use a monopolar diathermy. See, for example, here we are showing what I call a zone 2 injury. Here all you see is a metal part of the instrument, which is dissecting the Maryland is dissecting the callus triangle. But what you do not realize when you apply diathermy is, if there is a problem with the insulation of the Maryland dissector, that where the stray current will come out and causes damage to the nearby bowel, like demonstrated here in experiment with the cooking a meat, it can cook this bowel also, causing a delayed perforation. This will not be visible to you because it is out of the field, and it will cause what we call a zone 2 injury as shown in this experiment. So, avoid these things by proper examination by using what we call a magnifying glass as shown here. Check all the equipments before you send them for sterilization. The last thing, most important thing is like a game of football, it is not over until it is over, because if you pull the gallbladder with packed with the stones in a small hole, you can spill all the stones and you spend hours to take them all out. So, careful dissection, enlarge the port sides if necessary, and I would say retrieval bag should be used routinely, especially when there is a large specimen and or the malignant specimen. So, ladies and gentlemen, in addition, I would like to say there are additional advices, especially when you do a clean procedures. For example, always when you have a hernia, lap chole, do the hernia as first in the case and the lap chole next case. And whenever you trying to combine procedure, especially try not to combine a clean procedure with a clean contaminated surgery, and take the mesh through the trocar, not through the wound directly. And more commonly you start using the retrieval bag or wound protectors. Otherwise, you get into this trouble of port site sepsis and not able to close the port site properly, leading to port site hernia, and also when you are not using the wound protector, port site recurrences. All these things are. So, to summarize, these are all the trouble prevention. Always get a consent, including 5% up to 2 to 5% chance of conversion in difficult cases, and position on the table. You need to tell the anesthetist, and you need to strap and pad the patient properly, otherwise patient may fall off the table. And importance of this emptying the bladder and bowel, I told you, and equipments, spare equipments, and also working knowledge of all the equipments are necessary. But even if you get into any trouble, and you need to know how to manage. So, you need to act, make a diagnosis of any complication early, be there to diagnose, investigate, and involve the seniors with the whatever treatment plan, communicate with the relatives frankly, truthfully, with the compassion, and always document, because legal aspect is aside, you need to treat the patient as your colleague or a brother, because all these things you can very easily teach, but very important thing is you have to be in that situation to understand. So, you hear, you may forget, you see, you remember, but when start managing such cases, you always understand what I am trying to tell. So, ladies and gentlemen, our job is to avoid all these troubles by having a proper understanding of the concept of laparoscopic surgery. For that, good luck for you. Thank you.